Well, good morning, my Teaser King family. How is everybody today? I am fine. Um, we'll talk Big 12 and ACC today for college football. We did Big 10 and SEC yesterday. And tomorrow we'll do 2 or 3 other conferences. As the conferences are getting so big, I mean, you have 17 teams in the Big 10 and the SEC and the ACC. So it takes a little longer. The Big 12, I think the Big 12 had 16 teams. So it's pretty funny. Tomorrow we can do the Pac 8. So half the Mountain West moved in, and maybe we'll do the Mountain West, and we'll save the Sun Belt and the MAC later, and Conference USA. So we'll probably play all 3 of those at the same time. So what I'm looking for is trying to problem solve. Who's good, who's bad? That's critical. Best quarterback, best defense, worst quarterback, worst defense, and the coach. All the variables that we need to properly identify the teams so we can fucking bet on them. You can't blindly bet. People ask me, who do I like in the World Cup? I don't know. I don't know the teams. I don't know the players. I don't know anything. I don't know the coaches. So it makes it pretty hard to bet something you have no idea on. Yet people will bet because they are clueless. So for the first time in 3 months, I was able to wake up and not care about the gold price, because I know in the long run we're great. We have no issues in the long run. $20,000-$30,000 gold. It's the show. It's when you're trying to sell that you want the price to go up, and it wasn't. I brought out 2 new cards. This is a Patrick Roy Z team. This is a very beautiful card. This is just before we went to Colorado. This is like a 1994 or something. I don't know if it says it on there. Not sure. This was an 18 card subset. So there was also, I think, Gretzky, Lemieux, Yzerman, Sakic, Forsberg in it. Very pretty set. This is what you buy. It's not. It doesn't say how limited it is. It is somewhat limited, but you buy this as a painting. This is a beautiful piece of art. You can see it. This is black and gold. It was also in baseball and in football, and I have most of those guys. More football, but it's a very pretty set. So here's where, I don't care that it's not 25 count or 50 count. It's a beautiful card, and that's what it was. And this, we've got, I think this is 1963. And this is my other Mantle card. Roger Maris on the left, or over here, and then it's Storm and Norman Cash of the Tigers, and then of course Mickey and the LK line. It's very, very good condition. Very centered. Again, you're not looking for 10s in these early 60 cards, but a 9 is sweet. And with Mantle and Maris in it, and you throw in K-line more so than Cash, definitely is a big card. I don't know. But again, very well centered. This is, like I said, probably a 9. It could get a 10, because they adjust to the centering based on the product, based on the time. But even a 9 in this with mantle in it gets you a pretty fucking good value. So we were talking about cards yesterday about the different liquidities. So if you need a couple $100, you probably want a quarter ounce of gold or 5 or 10 ounces of silver. Soon it'll be 1 ounce of silver will get you the $100. Hey, DeMark, Yankee Bombers. Oh, everything's fine, DeMark. I know you. I hate when they change their names on the email. But yeah, the Yankee Bombers. That was I love the. It was another Mantle card. The only one I'm pissed at is I didn't get his like 575-foot home run, and then there was a World Series one. These are 63, 64, 65s, and I was like, well, no, I want the Mantle cards. I don't want the inserts. But like Bobby Orr, the inserts are very valuable. It's just the idea that it's a Mantle card. So yeah, so a proud papa. I'm fine. I did sell I sold 2 quarter ounces of gold yesterday for 40.60. I saw it jump up just before 10, and at 10 o'clock it didn't drop. So I ran to the store, sold it. He gave me 96% because it was an Eagle. I would have went to Ann Arbor, but they closed for 2 weeks for July 4th. Then they get back and their air conditioner is not working. So like for 3 weeks, as I'm trying to sell, I got these guys not there. They're not open. They're 98% of anything. So I was going to sell a 1 ounce Krugerrand, but I did sell the 2 halves, got approximately 2,000. And I got, he gave me 500 and a check. And then I went to his bank and they cashed the check and I got the money right away. It's funny. The bank called up the store and said, did you issue this check? And I'm thinking, really? If I'm going to do that, I'm going to write a check for a lot more. But I was glad to see that they did investigate. It's an honest bank, if there is such a thing. So I was happy. So I got, and I'm covered, and we got baseball coming up. So that's where I'm at with it. So really, your retirement. I mean, this is you want to retire. You get these, right? This is part of your retirement. And of course, your gold and silver. Right? And these are assets. And these you don't really worry about. They can't print a bunch more. And these were fairly limited. But who knows the value? But they do have some value. It's always by the player, which creates demand. That's what you need in a market, demand. So anyway, if I wanted to sell my Mantle card, I'd have to get it graded. And then I'd get 80,000 for it, which would take a while to sell. Where, a quarter ounce of gold for $1,000, you just go to the store, he gives you the cash. So for quick, I need some money. I want to go to Vegas. I want to go play poker. Things where you need cash from, your family, your daughter's birthday, your girlfriend's birthday, whatever. So you need cash for that. So that's the only, otherwise it's all credit card, right? Go to the grocery store, the gas station, it's gas. It's a credit card. So people don't understand that. Well, can I have money? I don't have money unless you take credit cards, or I have gold and silver, or I have a Mantle card here, but that's not, it's an asset that has a big value. So I think in terms of value, not necessarily monopoly money. So as you know, for the last 7 years, it's been get rid of this. We're trying to get out of monopoly money and we're trying to get into real assets. Gold, silver, this, Rolexes. These are real assets that will always have, I can always sell this card to get a mint condition, Mantle, Maris, and K-Line in one card. There's one that has a better one that has Mantle, Maze, and I think Harmon Killebrew. It was like an RBI leader card, which, the more studs you have on the card, the better. like the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird rookie card. There's one with Magic Larry and Dr. J. There was 3 or 4 of those cards in the set. Those little 3-column ones. It looks stupid, but you have Magic and Bird on a rookie card. Wow. So that's what you're looking at. That's the only card I'm kind of pissed I didn't get. I did get a 1980 card, the little half circle, little looks like a sun, and I got a Magic there and I can't find it. Like, I went through my cards, like, where is it? Got to be here. What did I do with it? All of a sudden, that got a good value. Again, once the grading comes out, that makes the value higher because it's more limited. A, there's no risk. You know it's a real card. And B, if you get a 10, it's far more limited, which makes the value go up. That's why values go up. It's very limited and more people want it, just like gold and silver now. So I'm going to share a few videos with you on gold and silver that these people are morons. Well, do you see gold crashing still, or why did gold go down? The guy's clueless to paper option gold and real physical gold. The physical gold price didn't go down. It never has. But we don't know what the value or the price is because it's never been valued and priced. We see the options controlled by JP Morgan and they want to say, geez, gold's going down. I see that and I just cringe. All right. Stop calling me. I love how it doesn't call it a spam anymore, but it is. All right, let's see what's going on here. We got silver down to 56.13. We got gold down to 39.95. Why? Why is that? Well, oh, by the way, this is paper gold and silver, not physical. This is the trap that everybody runs in. So you have silver and you go, shit, it's down to $56. Not physical silver. It's still 500 an ounce. It's not down. The paper contract silver's down. What is China stopping July 24th? The paper. So the paper won't go down when China's controlling it because then there's no paper option trading. It's strictly physical. Because China's realized that's the problem. They want a higher gold. You got 80,000 tons of gold. You want it at 25,000. You don't want it at 4,000. And same thing with silver. I mean, there is no silver. The physical's gone, right? Between the solar panels and the weapons and the defense contractors needing it for Tomahawk missiles and everybody else using it for whatever uses, and then for money as we use it for, there isn't any. It's gone. There's been shortages. They only mine, let's say 5,000 tons and they use 20,000 tons. So there's a big shortage of silver, but it's being passed over by the paper. So you see 56.10 is down $1. Why is it down? Because it's paper. It's options. These are options pushing the price down. We don't own options. We don't want to own options. If we own options, we'll be broke. We want to own physical, and that's what we're doing. So in the physical world, we see $56. In the paper world, we see $56. In the physical world, we're still seeing 500 to 1,000. We know that's what it's worth because it's very limited and highly demanded by a lot of people in the professional world, but also people like us who want to get out of dollars, and silver's much cheaper than gold, but it's being pushed down by the options. JP Morgan, there you go. So if we're looking at from a physical standpoint, that's like if this was digital. Well, if they were pushing the price of this down, it's worth $5, but in reality, this is worth, I don't know, 10,000. Graded, of course. Like this, probably 500, let's say. So, but this is physical. I have it. So this is what it's worth. So if they were doing options of this card, then they could price it whatever they want to. Oh, I want to buy that card. Let's push it down to $10 and I'll buy a bunch of them for $10. And then let's make the price go up because we're manipulating the price anyway. So again, these are options controlling these prices, which are delusional. There's 75 million tons of paper silver and 1 million tons of physical silver. Do you fucking think this $56 is the 1 million ton price or the 76 million ton price? Of course, the 76 million. And the same thing with gold. There's 4.3 million paper tons of this. That's where you get 4,000 from. Oh, but in the real world, there's only 200,000 tons. And China has 80,000 of those. BRICS has 175,000 tons of the 200. And then Poland bought a bunch, and the rest of the countries, France, Germany, Italy, are buying the shit out of them. So there's not a lot of gold out there. So most of it is held privately. It doesn't mean it's gone. There's still 200. There's always going to be 200,000 tons of gold. You cannot destroy it. You're not going to use it in an engine or in a missile. You can't destroy the gold. So therefore, there's always going to be 210,000 tons of gold floating around. This is not going to be anything available. Just like this Mano card. We have the card, and let's say there's 100 of them. Well, there's still going to be 100, but now I own it. And if you want it, you're going to pay for it. That's how physical gold is. We have it, but we're not going to give it. We're not going to sell it unless it's critical. I told the guy yesterday, I need monopoly money. I ran out of monopoly money. And I've been trying to hold on to my monopoly money, as I've told you for a while. The whole point was to have some monopoly money around so I didn't have to sell gold or silver, but I finally got to the end of it. So I got a different apartment that's cheaper, so I don't have to spend monopoly money. And right now we're just waiting for the gold price to go 10, 20,000. Then if I sell an ounce, I get a lot of monopoly money, which allows me to do a lot, go on a nice trip, go golfing, do stuff that I want to do, and that'll help me. So, but that's the issue. So when we look at this, when we look at gold at 39.93, this is 4.3 million tons, not the 200,000 in reality. So all the bullshit these guys want to say, oh, it's profit taking, it's this, it's the war, it's that, it's all bullshit. These are option prices. These are paper prices. They are not reality. If you own physical, just hold it, just wait, just laugh. As long as you don't need to sell it. And that's what I was stressing out about. I'm waiting for 4,500 to sell it, and I keep getting, it won't go over 41.80. It's like, what the fuck's going on here? So it's been like this since the war started. They're holding the gold price down, and the biggest recipient will be Russia and China, who have all this gold waiting for the price to go up. And that's why China is going to take over the physical price of it. That's the Shanghai Gold Exchange, Singapore, Hong Kong, St. Petersburg, Dubai, and all these countries are going to have physical gold price. You gotta sell a bar and you get the price, and that's what the physical price will be, the actual transaction, just like a grocery store. I bought an avocado, it was $1.50. That's the price of it, because that's what you paid for it. And you're just looking at that, and that's what gold will be. It's not that now, it's I'm going to write options on it and that. And this one guy still doesn't get it. Well, Turkey sold their gold. Well, it didn't lower the price. Turkey's selling their physical gold did not lower the price in the paper market. This can only be down because of an option. So there was an option written at 8 o'clock that went from 40.37 to 39.83. One or a couple options. We're shorting it. Why? Why would you short it? Because they're playing it as an investment. They're not even playing it as physical gold. That's how you play gold. You buy the physical and you hold it. And you know the dollars are going to run out because they're all printed and they're all worthless. And then everybody will run to gold, like the Titanic. You run to gold, you run to the lifeboat, and there's not enough lifeboat, and there's not enough gold, and the price is going to go to the moon. We know that, and we're just waiting for it. But the people with the dollars don't want to say, oh, fuck, we fucked up and we printed too much and it has no value. And what they're going to say is, oh, well, I don't know, it's Putin's fault, and we're going to come out with a new dollar, and it won't be backed by gold. The idiot, the Treasury Secretary, just flat out lied yesterday. Oh, I've been to Fort Knox, and there is all the gold in, and and then when he said we're the strongest, we have the most gold of anybody in the world, and I knew that was a lie because we know China and Russia have more. And I've been there and I saw it, and it's real, and it's really there, and we really have 8 tons of it or 8,000 tons of it, and you're just like, bullshit. I doubt you could keep 8,000 tons in Fort Knox. And by the way, it's not our gold; it's China. So he might have went there and he might have saw gold, but it isn't the U.S.'s. It's China's gold. So I'm surprised China hasn't asked for it back yet. Trusting the U.S. is terrible. So anyway, this is paper options driving the price down, not physical. So don't get confused. All right, I'm going to do a quick video, and then we'll get to football, college football. All right, so this is Kai Hoffman, who's a gold guy who is just clueless, and Matt Puffenbarger, who works for Egon, but he's an idiot. He's a banker or a stockbroker or whatever. He's clueless in economics. He's clueless about gold. I don't know why he does these shows, but let's take a look at it.
My name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy.
Nobody cares, Adam. Go fuck off.
Recognition that gold plays a more powerful.
Okay, so gold is being kept artificially cheap. No, it isn't. You're looking at the paper price. So they missed the full concept right off the bat. Gold is being kept artificially. Here's who buying it. Here's who's buying. Well, we know it's China buying it. Why is that a big mystery? This Matt guy he sounds like whatchamacallit, Andy Scheckman. He just talks very fast, doesn't say a word of anything, right? So his communication level is so bad. He's a fast talker because he doesn't know and he doesn't want to be found out. They still missed. I just explained everything to you in the last 10 minutes, right? We're looking at paper gold. We're not looking at physical gold. We're looking at paper gold. That's manipulated by JP Morgan and the bullion banks. So we know that's what's happening. But these are gold guys and they have no clue. So it's hard to really stomach this idiot. And I advise you not to really pay attention to him. Normally, I'm using this as an example because this is what most people are doing and saying. Gold's down. But they don't know this is paper gold down. They don't know we don't have a physical price. The only guy I can see that understands that is Ed Steer and Egon. Maybe Mark McGuire, not Alligator. And that's the key to it. Paper gold's down, not physical. Because you can't print anymore. You've got 210,000 tons of it. That's it. You can't print anymore. Well, the demand's higher, so the price has to go up. So don't act like, well, why is the gold price going? Why do they generalize it into gold and not paper gold? That's why on my titles, what do I say? Paper gold's down. Because we don't know what the physical price is. We know it's got to be 10 times higher easily because every time like today, it dropped. Well, the physical didn't drop. Physical couldn't drop. Physical can't drop because as long as there's demand for it and you're not increasing supply and demand doesn't go down. So there's two ways the price goes down. One, demand goes down. Nobody wants it. Price goes down. like your blueberries at $5 a quart at the grocery store. Nobody's buying them for $5. I don't even know why they price it there. I don't know who's stupid enough to buy them. And then it's if the supply goes up. So one demand drops, like Coca-Cola. Nobody wants Coke at $3. It's on sale 2 for $5. I don't know why they just don't make it $2.50, but they got their reasons. Don't know what that is, but they have their reasons. That's A. B is supply goes up. All of a sudden, we got a ton more of tuna fish, a ton more of Coke. They ran a lot more, and so there's too much on the shelf, and there's not enough buyers. Maybe it's ice cream, whatever you see sales on. Usually, demand's down because the price is up. But if you do increase supply, it will cause the price to go down because there's too much out there. Well, they can't increase the supply of physical gold and silver, only these options. So that's why there's no way gold can drop. Supply can't go up, so that's one out. Demand cannot go down. Well, it could go down, but it's not. China buys the shit out of it, as does Russia, as does Poland's buying it, and India and Saudi Arabia. They're all buying gold as fast as they can. So this is not no demand. So, the price went down because of the options. All right. So let's listen to this idiot. We'll listen about 5 minutes. It's unbelievable how stupid these two idiots are.
Go down further than this. Don't get me wrong. As we talked about in Vancouver at the beginning of the year, when everybody was too euphoric, it was too fast, too high. Of course, the CME isn't going to give up easily. Of course, London's not going to give up easily. Of course, the narrative isn't going to die easily. But I'm not here to say that gold only goes up to the right from here either. But I am here to say with complete conviction from all of the things I see, it's going to go much, much higher for a few years.
Special coverage from the World Symposium 2026 in Boca Raton, Florida is brought to you by First Majestic Silver. There's no substitute for silver.
Yeah, it's called gold.
Hello and welcome back to the World Symposium 2026. Welcome back to SOAR Financial. Really appreciate you joining us here. We have lots to discuss. What is happening to gold? We're recording this on July 8th, Wednesday. The MOU has just been torn up and gold barely reacted. I've invited a fantastic guest here at the conference to talk about all of this. His name is Matthew Pieperberg. Matt, we're excited to have you here. It's always great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
No, Kai, as we were joking before, you and I met earlier in the year in Vancouver, and then halfway to this
Listen
point
how
in Frankfurt,
fast
and
he
now we're in
talks.
Florida, and we've been watching this gold move together. But it's great to be here. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, gold has been interesting. It's been fascinating this year. Just the price chart itself. We moved up to 5,600. We're dropped below 4,000. Now we're just barely hovering above 4,000. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you're getting asked left, right, and center here at the conference, Matthew. What is happening with the gold price? Why is it so volatile? Yeah. What is making the price move right now?
No, listen, that's the question everyone's asking, whether they're here or somewhere else. I think what's unique about this conference is a lot of pretty sophisticated investors in the gold equity space or the gold space. So they're somewhat familiar with volatility and price action in general. So a little bit more rational than emotional. That said, it's hard not to get emotional when you go from 56 to 41. What we talk about, what they tend to know is, first of all, there's a lot of reasons unique to 2026, but again, nothing in a bear market or a bull market moves in a straight line. We're clearly in a secular bull market in the metals. We can talk why. And we can see some of the forces against gold since we met in Frankfurt or even in Vancouver. But people know here that, look, they remember the 70s. They saw gold have 28 all-time highs, but 5 periods with 20% drawdowns in the same 10 years. And they saw gold go halfway to the biggest run in its history and got cut in half in 74 to 76, and then go up 8x. So they put it into that kind of perspective. I think to get to this year and today, July of 2026, is even more compelling bull case. And I think many understand where you say, oh, these gold guys, they're pushing their narrative. But no, I think those of us who understand the bigger picture, 30,000 feet, the unique debt, currency, rate, and bond context that we're in 2026, this is just gold reloading. If anything, it's repricing in my way.
I'm sorry, what the fuck is he talking about? Does anybody have a clue what this idiot just said? He brings in the 70s. What does that have to do with anything? It's reloading. What are you talking about? They missed the whole point. It's paper. It's options. It's JP Morgan doing options because they have to get out of their options because the banks are broke. So they're doing shorts to get the price down. The banks are controlling the price, idiots. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? It's reloading. Physical gold hasn't dropped a penny. What the fuck are they talking about? Oh my God. I mean, this is the problem. You got idiot A and idiot B talking about gold, and the guy comes up with a song and a dance that nobody understands what the fuck he's talking about. It's irrelevant. It makes no sense. Who cares what happened in the 70s? It's all been COMEX. It's all been JP Morgan and the bullion banks doing options, and they're controlling the price. What's so hard about explaining it like that? Did they once measure paper gold or options? No. They are assuming gold as physical gold as gold. They don't differentiate physical and paper. That's why you see it in every title I ever do. Oh, but don't worry, guys, this is paper gold going down. We hold our physical. Thank you very much. And the physical price has not dropped a penny. You know what it's like? It's like the oil price. It's like 150 a barrel, and it's going to go much higher when I'm hearing about the war there. Is the real price is much, much different than this paper price. So gold could be 15,000 an ounce now for physical gold, but we don't know. Nobody's saying that. Because once you say that, the government is scared, everybody will dump dollars, and that's the end of it. Well, I get news for you. Everybody's dumping dollars anyway. All the central banks are out of, they're not buying treasuries, and all the US dollars they have, they're selling. They needed dollars to buy oil. That's the whole catch. That was the petro system. You need US dollars to buy oil from the Middle East. Now you don't. You have yuan. Iran will take it. I don't know what Saudi Arabia. I think they'll just take anything. They want gold for their oil. They don't really want US dollars. So everybody's realizing the US dollar's broke. But everybody will always take physical gold, the gold bars. And all it does is switch hands. So it never goes down. If Turkey sold 15 tons or 15 tons of gold, that didn't change the price. They sold it to China for whatever the price, and then they bought it back from China. That doesn't change the price. The price is only changed by paper options. If we all sold or bought, 1,000 tons, if we went and bought 1,000 tons, if we ever had that kind of money, the price wouldn't move an inch. Why would it? Because it's not priced in physical, it's priced in options. There's a paper world over here, and that's what the price is. And it's only controlled by options. The physical price is non-existent, and we buy in physical and we hold it. And we're in a dark hole because we don't know what it's really worth. There's no way it's worth 4,000. Times it by 10, like I say. So 40,000 is very conservative because it keeps, the longer it sits at this 4,000 and the longer China and Russia are buying it, and they keep buying it and buying it, the higher the price goes. Because they're buying, they have it, you want it, you got to pay more for it. And since it's limited and you can't get it, price goes up. So how the guy's trying to explain volatility and he doesn't say, well, this is options. You want to read my comment? What do you think my comment is? The Teaser King. Matt is clueless. By the way, you're talking paper gold, not physical. Waste of time. Okay, that in a nutshell is what's happening. The guy doesn't understand paper versus physical, and you're not explaining paper. You're not explaining physical. There is no physical price. Only Ed Steer gets it. There is no physical price. So therefore, this $4,000 is not real. It's an option price. Therefore, of course, it's volatile because the banks are running options. But what does that got to do with the price of tea in China? We only care about the physical price. All right, let's try to listen to these idiots a little more.
Tinfoil had it deliberately. If I were at the CME or the COMEX or the LBMA, I would want to do what I did in January, which is raise margins, push the price down, and reload my bullets at a cheaper price. I really believe that. That's separate and apart from the other forces, the forced selling by countries like Turkey or Saudi Arabia, the forced selling by triple levered ETF tourists in the space, or the forced selling by the shadow banks, the hedge funds early in the year, because when they saw those signals, it was a sell-off. But it was a fantastic opportunity for central banks pre-Iran to stack gold at a cheaper price, which if I were a nefarious player in the interworld, was exactly what I would do. Because they do see, like China, like the BRICS, like most of the central banks, the longer direction of gold as a net settlement asset, as better collateral to a U.S. Treasury or any paper currency. That is no longer a gold bug argument. That is the discussion in the rates market, in the credit market, in the currency market. So this is beyond just gold to good investment for wealth preservation, which of course it is, or gold at spot is certainly higher than cost of production for miners. It's way beyond that. It is a sea change in how the world sees collateral. And that, I think, is what's being missing in the price action headlines, which are meant to distract or entice or click. But the real change is much more clever, and it's a sea change in global collateral.
Are we still in the "I told you so" phase? Like, we were dancing a little bit, $5,600 gold, or are we already back in the eating crow phase here?
Look, remember, just a couple of years ago, gold was half this price. It's gone up 128% in 5 years. I think you should be entertained. But it's not an "I told you so" smug, but it's also not humble pie, because gold is moving secularly in a direction that to me is very obvious. Not selling my book, very obvious. I don't think it's ever good to be smug, and I don't think it's ever good to lose conviction.
What the hell is this guy saying? So he's very hard to listen to because nobody knows what he just, it's Andy Schectman. He talks to hear himself talk. He doesn't say anything that makes any sense or any value. He sees it going up. It's paper going up, you idiot. This is paper pricing going up, paper options. China's had enough of it. July 24th, it's all going to be physical. This will be curious how we figure out our physical value, but it'll be much, much higher. And you watch, and that's next Friday, and we will, with bated breath, see, what is the value of our gold. It can't be any lower than this, so it's got to be higher because China won't short it. China's been shorting it also. So I believe the logic here is let's short it, let's get the price down with the paper options, and then we'll buy the physical cheaper. Because there is no physical price, they're using the paper price. And why are you using the paper price for the physical price? And that's probably been the game. We'll control the price of the physical with the paper. We'll buy it cheap. So they've been buying a lot of gold. That's why China buys the shit out of it. They know the US dollar is worthless, as is the euro, the British pound, the Swiss franc. Even the yen and the yuan and the ruble are priceless, are worthless. But it's not worthless. It will never be worthless as gold because you can't print it. Therefore, you can't inflate it. I keep hearing people calling it debasement. You debase. The Romans took the gold out of the coin. That's the debasement. Not inflation is printing the money, and people still don't understand that. All right, that's enough of this idiot. What an idiot. What a loser. Then you got Rick Rude. What I really hate this guy, but I listened for about 2 minutes. And he thinks it's paper also. He doesn't get it. I watched about 2 minutes of this and had no idea what they're talking about. 90% ignore Singapore gold session. The fuck are they talking about there? And here, this is like AI Kevin Walsh, the new Fed guy, and who the fuck knows what he's talking about? So you got these idiots talking the headline, and then when they AI it, I turn it off because it's not even them talking. Could you imagine if it was AI talking and not me? Fuck, I wouldn't watch it. There was one here by our good doctor. This mixture saved my life, and it is baking soda and castor oil. and you put it together. If you got an ache or something wrong, you apply it. So I put castor oil on my feet, and when I get out, and it does a good job. And then I really haven't used the baking powder, baking soda. I do have it, but I haven't mixed it with castor oil. So I'm curious to do a little of that. And then you put it on. I don't know that you eat it. I think it's just applied. Although I'll have to watch this. I watched a little of it, but it's a very good thing to mix, apparently. For my hair, I use castor oil and coconut oil and cayenne pepper, and I mix it all together. Public safety thing, really? That's ridiculous. We need that. What outside? I love when they interrupt something important with, "Oh, it's raining outside." Okay, what do you want us to do? We're watching TV, so the rain won't hurt us. Anyway, so we'll have to look into that. All right. No baseball today. I think there is one game today, actually. I thought there was like a Phillies game today. I did update my box score thing. Yeah, today there is one game. We got the Mets at the Phillies. Phillies minus 126, 9.5. Aaron Nola and C. Scott for the Mets. We can quickly look at it, and then we're going to get into college football. Christian Scott, I think he's a bullpen guy. No, he actually pitches 4 or 5 innings. I never see. He must come in the middle because I've never heard of him. And he goes 4 innings, 70, 80 pitches. Yet, well, he has started 12 games, but I never heard of him. 3.17 ERA. Yeah, I don't get it. I never heard of this guy. All right. Last 6, 5 innings, 1 run, 5 innings shutout, 4 innings, 4 runs, 4 innings, 2 runs, 4 innings, 3 runs, 5 innings shutout. So he's pretty good for somebody we've never heard of. And Aaron Nola, who kind of sucks. I think the Tigers, killed him 10-2. He's lost 4 out of his last 5. And in his last 6, gave up 3 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 8 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs. So he good to give up 2-3 runs, and he usually goes 5 innings. So I don't know if you go over. I don't know who the Scott goes 5 innings. So that's all I got on that. So it's kind of sickening. We can only pitch him 50 pitches or 80 pitches or 90. We got to save his arm. It's a long season. And how many games are the managers losing? How many games do the managers cost their team by pulling their starters early, and then they end up losing the game because their bullpen sucks? The problem is that the coaches don't realize that you want your best players in the game. Just like taking out Willie Mays for Joe Mays. Yeah, Willie's our best player. Yeah, but it's a long season, and he might get tired, and let's sit him out and put in this guy who hits about 0.85. But, we don't want to get Willie. It's insanity. These are professional athletes. You're talking about maybe a half hour of hard work, right? Okay, they got to go to the plate 4 times. Ooh, maybe they hit a double or triple where they're running. a home run, they're just walking around the bases. A single, nothing. A walk's nothing. A strikeout, nothing. And maybe they get 4 or 5 plays in the outfield that they actually have to run on. So it's a lot like soccer. They're mostly just standing around. And these guys, it's just fucking ridiculous. Well, it's 162 games. Yeah, we know that. But they don't do anything. Most of the day, they're taking batting practice. They're catching flies. They're athletes. This is what they do. They can handle 162 games, or you give them a day off every week, or Sunday you're off. Sparky Anderson used to do that. You can never bet the Tigers on Sunday because he all the 120 hitters would be playing. So he gives it a rest, but that's the thing. It's it's a whole year. That's when they took out whatchamacallit. That's when they took out Zach Wheeler. He had a streak of like 250 games he pitched. He went at least 5 innings. And the guy pulled him before the 5th inning. He was livid. And Mattingly, well, we got to save him. Did you have a bet on the other team, Mattingly? Because that's where it comes to now. All right. We will look at we'll start with the Big 15, although we'll call it the Big 12. Actually, it's the Big 16. And this is their order: Texas Tech, BYU, Houston, Utah, Arizona, Oak State, Arizona State, Kansas State, TCU, Cincinnati, Baylor, West Virginia, UCF, Kansas, Iowa State, and Colorado. So what happened to prime time? I thought he was the greatest coach since sliced bread. Texas Tech, we got to see. Okay, I'm not worried about the quarterback because the backup's probably better than him anyway. I was never impressed with Sorsby at Cincinnati. He didn't really do all that. That even Texas Tech would even go after the guy. It's just how weak the quarterback portal is. The recruiting department scored big in the portal cycle, so they got a big payroll. I don't understand that. Like, there's no contract. I doubt the guy pays taxes. I guess the guy paying, the billionaire who pays it, how does he record the transaction? Probably contribution or something. It's got to be a tax write-off, right? And then the player, are they giving him a 1099 or what are they, is he not paying taxes? It's not even real. It's not even a contract. I don't even understand the whole process. It's totally, to me, illegal from the standpoint. Well, it's legal if somebody wants to pay you, but it's an amateur athletics. This is not paying the guy. So the idea of you're paying him to play for you without a contract, you're not taxing him, which is illegal. You must tax. So when me and you go to work at GM or Mercedes or something, they have to tax me. There's no way around it. They have to. If I'm an employee, they got to take out my payroll taxes and pay them for me. It's not an option. Now, if I'm a 1099, if I'm an outside contractor in my own business, then they 1099 me. But it's more, it's even if I'm a contractor, it's a W-2. You have to pay my taxes. So I don't get any of this. I don't get why they pay them so much. They're not worth it. Sorsby, I don't know, what are they paying him, $2-3 million? Why is he worth that? He's not very good. He's not draftable. So anyway, all right, let's go. So if Texas Tech, we'll see about their quarterback. Okay, are they number one? I don't know, but they seem to get a lot of good pay for their players. So let's say they're still up there one. BYU, I like their quarterback back. Their defensive coordinator went to Michigan with the Utah coach. So this will be interesting. So Michigan's going to have a hell of a defense because BYU had a hell of a defense. The problem is who's BYU's defensive coordinator. So we gotta keep that in mind. There's changes all over. So we can't just look at BYU was a great defensive team last year. So was Utah, and they're going to be the same this year. You don't know. That's why I think Texas Tech took me by surprise that they had this great defense last year. Out of what? They're never a good defensive team. Oh, the portal, they bought a bunch of defensive guys. Oh, okay. So we'll see the same point here. Who is BYU? All right. Then Houston 3. Now, Houston, I know, is a good defense. So we'll see. I do like their coach. Utah, I think Utah is probably 1 or 2, not 4. Devin Dampier is a great quarterback. He's a good runner, but he's a good passer. He'll get you a lot of points, and their defense should be good. And the defensive coordinator is now the head coach, so their defense shouldn't slip. Arizona, Noah Fafita enters senior season with 9. So this is like his 6th year. I don't know. This is supposed to be 4 years of college, not 6. Noah Fafita is pretty good. See, now we're running into where everybody thinks they'll just get these free agents. And I don't know about that. So anyway, let's look at it. So just because you go to the transfer pool does not mean you're necessarily going to get good players. So we'll see. So Arizona, Fajita's good. I don't know what their defense looks like. Oklahoma State, they got the North Texas coach and quarterback. Look for them to be an explosive team. Probably still a weak defensive team, so they should be a good overbet. Arizona State, they lost their quarterback. I mean, he went to LSU. I didn't know Arizona State was that weak of a program that you would leave it for LSU. So Ken Dillingham is the coach. Don't know. Sam Levitt went to LSU, as we know. Kansas State, Colin Klein inherits a better role than most first-year coaches. Kansas State's always they're always a pretty good team, so we'll see. TCU, I don't know. They're hurting. They're not super strong. Kind of a weak defense. They got an Ivy League transfer for quarterback. If he's the quarterback, they're in trouble. Cincinnati, they stink. And then they've lost their quarterback. So, again, we'll have to wait. Baylor, I mean, if DJ Langway stinks, I don't know why Baylor would take him. They had Sawyer Robertson. Where is he? Why didn't he get drafted? This guy's a very good quarterback. So look for Baylor to be down this year. Maybe they get explosive because they got a good coach. West Virginia, Rich Rodriguez, they're terrible. Weak defense. Let's see. UCF, pretty explosive team, but we got to see the quarterback. James Madison transfer. Bennett could give the Knights a needed jolt. Their defense still stuck. Kansas is a very good coach team. They usually overachieved. The offensive line, So we have to wait a couple games to see how they are. They lost Jalen Daniels, who was the other Jalen Daniels, who was their quarterback for like 5 years. I thought he sucked. So we will see who they get at quarterback. And so this is a couple of wait. Iowa State, the team is new and building for the future. The key will be their coach. So we will see. But Iowa State with Campbell was a great. They were. You could bet them a lot. I remember we bet them the first game last year. against, I think, Kansas State in Ireland, and they were a dog, and we bet them. So I don't really know here with Iowa State who the new. So it's going to be new coach, new quarterback. So this is another. They could be better depending on who their coach and quarterback are. And Colorado with Prime Junior, with Prime Time, they just suck. Coach Prime can't keep his best players with CU's athletic budget problems, whatever that means. So Colorado should suck. All you Prime Time, Prime Junior guys. According to the All Big 12 team, Drew Mestemeyer, the North Texas quarterback, is the best quarterback in the league. Connor Wegman from Houston and Noah Fajita from Arizona. So I'm going to go into my spreadsheet. If you leave me a comment, just hold on. I will get back to you in about 2 minutes. So Big 12. So again, we talked Big 10. We talked SEC yesterday. So let's go through it. Texas Tech scored 42, gave up only 10 with that monster defense. I got Will Hammond as the quarterback. He's been there, so he's okay. He had 7 touches, 3 picks, and they had about 200 yards rushing, but we don't know the passing because with Will Hammond, it was more mop-up jobs, so it was 85 yards, which obviously isn't right. Utah, 41 points and 18. So this is what Michigan's going to be, 41-18. Devin Dampier, 22 touchdowns, 5 picks. 200 yards rushing a game, 270 passing, 468. So very solid team. We will see. The new coach is the defensive coordinator, so they should be fine. They didn't really make a big change. BYU, 31 points a game, giving up 19. Bear Beckmeyer was a freshman last year. Now he's a sophomore, and he's 14 touchdowns, 6 picks, a good runner. And they ran for 208 yards a game and passed for one under 400, but fairly balanced. They had a great defense. See if they still have it. The coach is still there, so he usually runs the schemes, and then he hires the coordinators to say, this is the scheme I want to run. Arizona, 32 points a game, 18 defensively. Noah Fajita, 26-5, so he's pretty good. 250 yards a game. They run for 150. I'd like to see them get to 200. But a pretty good team. Cincinnati, 31 points a game, gave up 24. That's their weakness. J.C. French will be the new quarterback from one of these Sunbelt teams or whatever. 19 touchdowns and 8 picks last year. 229 yards passing, 179 rushing. So a pretty balanced team, Cincinnati. Baylor, 31 points a game, gave up 32, and that's their problem, their defense. DJ Langway at Florida, 16 touchdowns, 14 picks. This guy sucks. 189 yards passing, 142 rushing. And from Baylor, that's ridiculous, 330 yards. Langway more of a runner than a passer. As you can see, so many interceptions. Maybe we can bet Baylor over because of this weak defense, but they're shit. TCU scored 30, gave up 25 last year. Craig from Harvard is penciled in as their starter. We will see. So really no stats from Harvard. Kansas State scored 29, gave up 26. Unusual for Kansas State. They normally have a good defense. Avery Johnson, the quarterback, 18 touchdowns, 6 picks. He likes to run a lot. 199 yards passing, 170 running. Houston, 28 points a game, gave up 21. Pretty good defense. Willie Fritz, I like. He's a very good coach. Connor Wegner was the quarterback, 21-9. 206 yards passing, 176. So he needs to get into the 400s. But Houston with a pretty good defense with Fritz. He's one of these good coaches that'll get it going. Kansas, 28 points, give up 27. there's 3 quarterbacks going for the position, and we don't know who it is. And their coach is Lance Leopold, who was really good at like these Division II and Division III, and they always get in the playoffs, like Whitewater or some of these colleges. And so he's pretty good at Kansas. Iowa State, we don't know what to expect. 27 points, they give up 20. That's probably what you'll see at Penn State. Jalen Rayner from MSU, 16 touchdowns, 11 picks, will be the quarterback. 256 yards passing, 175 running. So a pretty balanced attack. I don't know if we'll see that with the new coach, but we'll see. Arizona State, 24 points. They gave up 23. Boley, the Kentucky backup, is one of the guys going for it. We'll see. They lost Levitt and they've lost Scadaboo, so they're not going to be upsetting Texas Tech. UCF, 24 points, give up 23. Also, almost identical to Arizona State. Alonzo Barnett is the quarterback, 21 touchdowns, 8 picks. Again, he's like division from UCF. 195 yards throwing, 158 passing. So again, we don't know with UCF. See, these quarterbacks that come in like Barnett and Rayner and Langway, French, they're not really very good. And so I think this portal thing was cute in the beginning, but I don't think it's cute anymore. And I think what they're getting is very weak talent. And I think it's probably coming to an end soon where Indiana is getting these guys, but even that's going to come to an end. They'll go pro or they're that. And that's the problem. They shouldn't be getting paid that much. They're not pros. So they're competing with the pros, and I'm sure the NFL does not like that. Because it hurts their product when these decent quarterbacks stay in college. They need them in the pros. God knows the pros quarterbacks suck. That was UCF. West Virginia, 21 points, give up 30. Terrible defense, but that's the way whatchamacallit runs it. Hawkins from Oklahoma, that was maybe last year. Scotty Fox, 7 touchdowns, 6 picks. Penciled in as the starter. I think he was a backup, a Rich Rod guy. We don't know what his passing is. 161 yards they ran for. Again, we know Rich Rod. He sucks. I can't believe he's the head coach here. Colorado. Here's Prime Junior or Prime Senior. 20 points, gives up 30. No defense. And his kid ain't there to bail him out. And the one guy who plays every down is not there to bail him out. Julian Lewis is a freshman, and he's 4 touchdowns, no picks. Good luck, no running, no real passing, and the defense sucks. And Oak State, I've changed them to an over team right away. They're North Texas. 14 points a game last year and 33 defense. Drew Messmeyer, 31 touchdowns, 7 picks for North Texas. 318 yards a game, 118 rushing, 436. Let's take a quick look at North Texas so we get an idea who the hell Oklahoma State probably will be. I think they're AAC. Between Conference USA, the Sun Belt, and AAC, I don't know where anybody is. Okay, there's North Texas. So North Texas last year scored 44 a game, gave up 25. They did run for 181. So with Messmeyer, now he's gone. The new guy, Tavian Jackson, 10 touchdowns, 8 picks. But you got a whole new coach. It's a whole new dynamic. And that's what you got to understand. And now we will go to the ACC. And I will go back to my Gray Sports Almanac, of course. Any questions or comments? Okay. So that's your Big 12. Oh, yeah, I do like to look at some of the, let's look at some of the schedule. So Texas Tech opens with Abilene Christian, which is Division II. Then they got at Oregon State, Houston, Sam Houston, which is Division I now. Colorado, Arizona State, Cincy. So they don't have Baylor and TCU. So really, the schedule, Texas Tech should run the table. I don't see anybody good on it. Oak State, but that's a passing offense. So very weak schedule for Texas Tech. BYU opens up with Utah Tech. What the fuck is that? Arizona at TCU. That'll be easy. Iowa State. Okay, they get Notre Dame. What is BYU playing Notre Dame for? At UCF, Arizona State's nothing. Utah, that'll be tough. That's a normal game. Baylor and Utah, or BYU and Utah. Then Baylor, who snugs, Kansas, Cincinnati. So the only tough, they got Notre Dame and Utah is it. The Big 12 is really down this year. Baylor and TCU aren't as strong as they are. We're not even sure about BYU. And that leaves us with Utah, who should be good, and Texas Tech, who, if we look at their quarterback, Will Hyman's a sophomore. He had 7 touches, 3 picks, 600 yards. Not a lot of time. We get Houston. Opens with Oregon State at Texas Tech, tough game. Georgia Southern, Kansas State, Oak State, at Utah, that'll be tough. Cincinnati, Colorado, West Virginia, and Baylor. This is a terrible league. You got Texas Tech, you got Baylor, Texas Tech, BYU, maybe, Utah, probably, and then Houston, probably the 4th best team in here. But your normal teams, your West Virginias, your Baylors, Colorado, Cincinnati, Kansas State, Oak State, you don't know anything about them. So I will be avoiding the Big 12 to bet on. I mean, unless we do like BYU's quarterback. We do like Utah's quarterback. Oak State will bet over. And then Texas Tech, we got to find out what they are. Although Will Hammond's fine. That's not their problem. All right, Utah. Open at Idaho. They got Arkansas, who's they should kill. Utah State. We'll get to they're now in the Pac-8, so we will look at that. Iowa State, Kansas, Colorado, Houston, Cincinnati, BYU. So the Utah BYU November 7th at Arizona, maybe a problem after the BYU game because Noah Fahita, TCU, and West Virginia. But West Virginia can put up a lot on you. They just can't play defense. So we'll see how Utah, I mean, really, there's nothing there. Houston, BYU, and at Arizona, and they're not that strong. So Devin Dampier, 24 touchdowns, 5 picks. And Devin Dampier ran for 835 yards, 10 touchdowns. So he's a very key player, Dampier. Arizona State, they get Northern Arizona. Then this is Arizona, I'm sorry. Northern Arizona at BYU, Northern Illinois, Washington State, which we haven't gotten to yet. Cincinnati, West Virginia, Iowa State, Texas Tech. Okay, a big game. TCU, Utah. So they got the BYU, Texas Tech, and Utah. So that's going to be a tough schedule for Arizona State. Oklahoma State with Drew Mestemeyer. He's 6'3", sophomore, very good player. They go at Tulsa. They should light it up. They get Oregon. Let's see what Oregon does. This will be a very interesting game. They can, but they can't beat Oregon because they don't have the defense, but they should be able to score. There was a game either last year or the year before. Oregon played Boise, and it was like a 70-point game, and I had it over. And I think that's what we have here with Oregon, Oklahoma State. This should be a high-scoring game. If it's anything in the 60 and below, this is lock overtime. Then Murray State, who the hell knows? West Virginia, UCF, at Houston could be a problem because they play a good defense. Colorado, they'll kill. At Iowa State, at Kansas State. Texas Tech will be an issue. Arizona State, and then Kansas, which we don't know what Kansas is. They've been pretty good with Lance Leopold. But for sure, they got Oregon, at Houston, and Texas Tech. So we assume Texas Tech will have that strong defense because that's what they bought, right? Arizona State, Cutter Bowley is the quarterback. Yeah, look for a bad year from them. Morgan State, and then they go at A&M. That's problems. Kansas in London. Why are they playing Kansas in London? Like, people in London want to see Kansas and Arizona State. Really? Oh, okay. What is with this international crap? It's ridiculous. I just don't understand it. I mean, who in London wants to see Arizona State play Kansas? Oh, my God. Then they get Baylor, who stinks. Hawaii, who could be decent. At Texas Tech, that's a loss. Kansas State, we don't know. At BYU's a loss. Colorado, UCF, Oklahoma State, and Arizona. So Oklahoma State, we're looking strong offense, no defense. So we're looking for we're looking for weak defenses, and we'll bet on them. And then we're looking for other strong offenses, like possibly Arizona with no Fajita, or maybe West Virginia, who Rich Rodriguez normally has a pretty good offense and a weak defense. Except for at Michigan, he had no team. Kansas State, Avery Johnson is a senior. He's been there. They open with Nichols. Then Washington State, Tulane, which has been very good. At Cincinnati, Houston, been good. Kansas has been good. Arizona State, don't know. At Colorado, they suck. At Oklahoma, against Oklahoma State, and that'll be high scoring. At TCU, TCU stinks. Arizona and Iowa State. So we're looking for TCU as a favorite this year, based on what they've been doing. But this year they're terrible. Here's TCU. Jaden Craig, senior, from fucking. He was at Harvard. I've never seen. So now they're going to Harvard for quarterbacks at TCU. Really? And what's next? They're going to Brother Rice High School. Hey, kid, we need to sign you. It's terrible. So TCU, they're going to be terrible this year. Open at North Carolina, at Dublin, Ireland. Then they get Grambling, then Arkansas State, then UCF, BYU, that's a loss. At Baylor, we have no idea. West Virginia, Kansas, that's at home. At Arizona, that's a loss. Kansas State, Utah, and Texas Tech, so 2 losses at the end. I don't know. And then again, you don't know West Virginia, Baylor, Kansas. They're all like E teams, maybe W teams. Not very good. Cincinnati, J.C. French the fourth. Where did he come from? Oh, Georgia Southern quarterback. He's a senior. Cincinnati, they open with BC, West Carolina, then Miami of Ohio, then Kansas State. At Arizona is a loss. West Virginia, Texas Tech, and Utah, those are losses. And at Houston, so they got Texas Tech, Utah, and Houston 3 in a row. Big trouble. At Iowa State, who knows? Colorado should be a win, and at BYU, probably a loss. So a long year for Cincinnati. Again, we want to see what the first few weeks, we got to look at box scores. is the quarterback really good? What's their defense look like? That's the most important. We're watching defense. Baylor, DJ Langway, he sucks. There's so many transfers that there's no continuity, right? I look at their offense, one guy back on offense, the right tackle, and on defense, there's 3 guys back. I mean, how do you build a football team with this shit? Baylor's coach, Dave Aranda, 36-37, 8 years at Baylor, or 6 years. So, I mean, they scored 31 a game, gave up 32, so you'll probably try to get something similar. Means the defense will suck. They open versus Auburn at Atlanta. Auburn will kill them. Prairie View A&M, well, that's a tough game. Louisiana Tech, then Colorado at Arizona State, at home to TCU, at Kansas, at UCF, Iowa State. Who knows any of those games? At BYU, then they get Texas Tech. So they end up BYU, Texas Tech, and Houston. That's 3 losses. So I don't know with Baylor. Again, I've never seen a conference like this where so many guys are gone and you have no idea what the team's going to be. Normally, you kind of know, TCU and Baylor are usually very explosive, and Texas Tech's usually explosive, and it's just – it's crap. West Virginia, Michael Hawkins Jr. This is the guy from Oklahoma, and he sucked at Oklahoma. Rich Rod, he's been there 6 years already. Oh, no, they're including both stints. All right, so they open with Coastal Carolina. We'll have to check out that's when you get into the smaller conferences. That's why you must know the A team. Is Coastal Carolina an A team or a Z team? And you must know that for this game. That's why we have to grade the teams and know them. And that's why this year, with all the movement, it's a little bit harder. So we start off with Ohio State, Indiana, Alabama, Georgia. We start with the cream. And then, Oklahoma State will be good. And we follow the quarterback a little bit and the coaches. Michigan on the under, Ohio State, USC should be explosive. UCLA, we'll have to see what this James Madison coach did. So West Virginia, Coastal Carolina, UT Martin, then they play Virginia and Charlotte, North Carolina. Oklahoma State and their explosive team. At Iowa State, Arizona should be pretty explosive. Cincinnati, TCU, at Texas Tech's a loss, Kansas, and then they finish with Houston and Utah. So their last 4, they're in big trouble. And Michael Hawkins at Oklahoma sucks. UCF, the Knights. They are Alonzo Bennett, the third, not the first or the second. So this is the James Madison quarterback, Alonzo Bennett. So he might be decent. He's a senior, but Scott Frost is the coach, and he's so bad. Yeah, Joe Burrow. Yeah, you want to play cornerback for us? Yeah. No, we don't need you at quarterback. Well, you can't play quarterback. You can play safety or cornerback. Yeah. Guy can really spot talent, can he? So UCF opens with Bethune-Cookman. What's the point? Then they go at Pitt, who's supposed to be pretty good this year. We'll get to the ACC in a minute. Then Georgia State, and then TCU, who knows? At Houston, that's a loss. At Oklahoma State, high scoring regardless. BYU, Baylor. BYU's good, should be good team. At Kansas, don't know. Arizona State, don't know. Iowa State, have no idea. In Colorado. So UCF with a pretty easy schedule. At Pitt, at Houston, at Oklahoma State, BYU. So that's their tough games. Kansas, Lance Leopold, 27 and 35, 5 years at Kansas. He's 173, 74, 19 years at these little Division 2 and 3 schools. He's a lot like Brian Kelly, where Brian Kelly won all the titles at Lake Superior State. Then he moved into the MAC and he was very successful. Then he moved to Cincinnati and he was undefeated and he quit. And that's where you tell the character he quit before the bowl game of an undefeated team. And then he goes to Notre Dame and he doesn't do much. And then he goes to LSU and it blows up. So you got to be careful when these guys step up into the higher, if they're any good. Kansas, Isaiah Marshall, a sophomore, will be the quarterback. Let's see. So Andy Kolnecki returns as associate head coach and offensive play caller after 2 years at Penn State when Penn State didn't do anything. Kansas had success in 22-23 when they ranked 21st and 17th in offense. I also had Bean at quarterback. He goes away. They don't do too well. He's back. So let's look for some offense from them. Jalen Daniels is gone after 6 years. And the race is junior Cole Ballard, redshirt sophomore Isaiah Marshall, and Rice transfer Chase Jennings. And no separation, which means all three suck. So we will see what they do. They open with Long Island, the Long Island iced teas. That's got to be their. They have a iced tea drink on their helmet. What a opener. Then they go to Missouri. Good luck. Arizona State in London. We already pointed that out. Middle Tennessee. We don't know yet. Utah. Good luck there at Kansas State. Maybe a winner. That's a big rivalry game there. And Kansas State won 42-17 last year. Little revenge there. Baylor, who knows? TCU, who knows? UCF, West Virginia. BYU should give them a game, and Oak State should be a very high-scoring game. Iowa State, who the hell knows? New coach, Jimmy Rogers. He's 33-9 in 3 years, wherever the fuck he came from. So all their players and their coach went to Penn State. So you have a totally who the fuck knows and a whole different team. So we don't know what Iowa State is. We don't know what type of coach this guy is. They open with Southeast Missouri State. They might get a win there. Then they go to Iowa. Good luck. They beat Iowa 16-13. Little revenge for Iowa. Then Bowling Green, Utah. That's a loss. West Virginia, don't know. At BYU, that's a loss. At Arizona, that's a loss. Oklahoma State, we'll have to see how they handle this quarterback. At Baylor, Cincinnati, UCF, and Kansas State. So definitely losing at Iowa, Utah, BYU, and Arizona, and possibly to Oak State if they don't have a defense. So I don't know. I don't know who this coach is, Jimmy Rogers. It doesn't really say much. A new team from scratch. Oh, he was 1 year at Washington State, so he's not a good coach. Cougars went 6-6 in his 1 year there. So I don't know. Very, very weak coach. And prime senior, Colorado, Julian Lewis, the new quarterback. No running game at all. He's overhauling the offense for the third time in 3 years. So the offensive coordinator was at UNLV. They had a good year, but who knows if it's him. So they're going to have a new offensive philosophy. Can't get any worse. So who is this Julian Lewis? It doesn't mention Julian Lewis in the thing. Good God. How do you not mention your quarterback? Anyway, they gave up 30 points a game, so they're a very weak team. They're a W or a Z. Maybe they'll have a better offense. Julian Lewis, 6'1", freshman. That's why we can't find anything on him, because he's just a freshman. They open at Georgia Tech, loss, Weber State. They might beat the Webers. They got little grills on their helmet. At Northwestern, that's going to be tough. At Baylor, Texas Tech, that's a loss. Utah, that's a loss. At Oklahoma State, with their 30 defense, Oklahoma State's going to light them up. Kansas State, they'll probably lose to them. At Arizona State, Houston's a loss. At Cincy and UCF. So I've got them losing to Georgia Tech, Texas Tech, Utah, Oak State, and maybe at Arizona State or Kansas. They're not going to win a lot. All right, so that is your Big 12. And now we go to the ACC, not the AAC. Picking the ACC. 17 teams in this conference. This is insane. You want a 10, 12 team conference, and so far everybody's been 17, 18 teams. We start off with Miami. They're the cream. 2, Louisville. 3, SMU. 4, Clemson. Then Virginia Tech, which I really don't understand. And then Georgia Tech, Pitt, Cal, Virginia, NC State, Duke, Wake Forest, Florida State, North Carolina, Syracuse, BC, and Stanford, which will be the worst team. Let's go into my spreadsheet for the ACC. And we start with Pitt, an over team, scored 35, gave up 24. Mason High School, the quarterback, 15 touchdowns, 7 picks, 233 passing, 117 running. So they don't have a big running game, and they didn't get a lot of offense, 350. Then we got Duke, and they lost their quarterback. They got a new one, Eget. Duke was 34 and 28, so they're pretty high scoring last year. Eget 17 and 9, I think it's from San Jose State. 278 yards passing, 132 running. So Duke scores a lot. I like their coach. Miami, what can you say? They're top 5 team, 34 points and 13. They add 13 defense, great defense. Darren Mensah, 30 touchdowns, 5 picks at Duke, 281 yards passing, 150 rushing, 430 a game. Look for Miami to be right there again. Replacing Ruben Bain's going to be hard, but they got Tony as the receiver, and they got the running back, who I can't think of right now. He's there. Their offense, and with Mensah, should be explosive. And their defense was very strong, 13, again, with Ruben Bain. So we'll see who they bring in. Virginia, 32 a game, gives up 20. Bo Perilla from Missouri, 11 touchdowns, 9 picks. He does run a little bit. He broke his ankle in the Vanderbilt game and then next week he played. So I don't know. I don't know what that was. 195 yards passing, 184. So he's not the same quarterback they had last year. Georgia Tech, 33 points, give up 25. Mendoza, junior from Indiana. So this is Brother Mendoza will be the quarterback. We have no idea how good he is. We will wait and see. He did play a little bit. And I like what Indiana did because in case the big Mendoza got hurt, he had some experience. So he's not coming in totally cold. And this is at Georgia Tech. So look for Georgia Tech. Good offense. They had our man Haynes King who won us a lot of money. And we will see. Florida State, I don't know. 33 offensively, 22 on defense. Ashton Daniels from Georgia Tech, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. They did run for 219. We'll see. They have a good coach, but they just, after they didn't get into the bowl picture with that great team, it just like, they haven't been the same. So we'll see. SMU, 33 points a game, give up 20. Pretty good team. Jennings, the quarterback, 26 touchdowns, 10 picks, 280 yards passing, 136 yards on the ground. Pretty good. They're always a pretty explosive team. Louisville, 30 points, give up 21. Ken Holds, the Ohio State backup, will be their quarterback. So we really have no stats. We really have no stats on him. Which was that? Louisville. So they've been pretty good. They have Brom, a good coach. They should score. To be the backup of Ohio State, you must be fairly good or they wouldn't recruit you. So we'll see. NC State scored 30, gave up 28, a complete over team. CJ Bailey, 23 touchdowns, 9 picks, and he's kind of a dual option. He runs a little bit. So we'll see. Clemson, they just suck. 28 a game, gives up 20. They used to have that killer defense, not anymore. Christian Vizina, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, 131 yards rushing. They don't have much. Their defense isn't what it used to be. The defensive coordinator is the head coach at Oklahoma, and he's a good defensive coach and a shitty head coach. Wake Forest, 26 a game, gives up 21, not bad. Gio Lopez, 10 touchdowns, 5 picks, about 300 yards of offense. I hate when I get a message from a spam call, like, what do you want? You're going to try selling me on a message? Anyway, so Wake Forest, pretty good coach. We'll see what they do. Boston College, 25 points. Give up 32, excuse me. McKenzie, Division II guy, will be the new quarterback. Bill O'Brien, average coach. Not much there. Cal, 24 points, give up 26. This Jaron Sega Bluebly, 17 touchdowns, 9 picks, 260 yards passing, 77 running. So, again, you have to have a running attack. Virginia Tech, 21 points, 30, give up 30 on defense. They brought the Penn State guys, Grunkenmeyer from Penn State, who's a third stringer. Franklin, the head coach, who sucks. We don't know. So you're basically getting Penn State's team. So let's look at Penn State's team last year. And Penn State scored 31, gave up 21. Virginia Tech, 21 and 30. So it'll get a little better defensively. So we will see what kind of offense they have. But with Grunkenmeyer, who didn't play, again, work in progress. I wouldn't rate him that high because Franklin showed up. Syracuse, Z team, 20 points on offense, 35 on defense. And Jelly, the backup, Notre Dame backup, will be the quarterback. He was 10-2 last year, 10 touchdowns and 2 picks, 329 yards of offense, and gave up and 123 rushing. So pretty pass-happy team. North Carolina, we know who their coach is, some girl. They scored 19 a game, gave up 24. Edwards from Maryland, not Mary Edwards. Edwards from Maryland will be the quarterback, and I don't know what Belichick's doing. And then Stanford, 18 points a game, gave up 29. They get Warren from Michigan, and he stinks. I can't believe anybody would want this guy. All right, so Stanford will be a Z team, score 18, give up 30, and I don't think it's going to be better than that. So pretty bad. So that's our bitch in that conference is Stanford. Okay, let's go through the ACC now. Lindy's all ACC team. Menshaw from Duke at Miami now. Quarterback 1, CJ Bailey, NC State. Kevin Jennings, SMU. Mark Fletcher's the guy, the running back from Miami. He should be a first-round pick. Isaac Brown at Louisville. Malachi Toney, Miami, outstanding. Georgia Tech's got a good running back, Haynes. Duke with Shepard. Cooper Barkate at Miami is another receiver. And Miami's Jordan Lyle. They got another running back. A guy from Virginia. Clemson's got a few receivers. Not much else. Defensively, we got Damone Wilson, Miami. Ahmad Moten, Miami. Bryce Fitzgerald, a defensive back, Miami. Those first two are defensive linemen, Wilson and Moten, to replace Reuben Bain. Justin Scott, second team, Miami defensive lineman. A linebacker, Torrey. A defensive back, Poyser. And third string, not anybody, one defensive back. So you can see Miami's loaded again. And that's what I like to do is that when you look at the conference, they're all ACC, they're all big team. And you're looking for a player. And there was time Michigan didn't have anybody on there, and I knew they'd suck. And now you're seeing Miami, and they got a great quarterback, great receivers, 2 of them, a great running back. Yeah, they should be aces. So I think I read this part. So the conference picks. So it's Miami, Louisville, SMU, Clemson, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, Pitt, Cal, Virginia, NC State. Then it's Duke, Wake Forest, Florida State, North Carolina, Syracuse, BC, and Stanford. The ACC with Stanford and Cal in the Atlantic Coast and 17 teams. The whole thing makes no fucking sense. All right, so Miami opens at Stanford. Oh, that could be our first lock, depending on the line. That's September 4th, so that'll be week 1B. And that could be because we have an unknown quantity, Menshaw, Toney, and Fletcher. So we know Miami, great defense. Stanford, we know, sucks. They're a Z team with this Warren at quarterback. So look for Miami to kill them. So that could be week 1's lock. So, yes, I do have picks week 1. There's a lot of teams, TCU, Baylor, we're going to be watching, Iowa State, Virginia Tech, whatever. But then we go to the cream, Miami, Ohio State, Texas, USC. The teams we know, we bet on the first couple of weeks. The teams we don't know, we watch and learn. And then we can bet on weeks 3, 4, 5, whatever. So they open at Stanford, win. Florida A&M, seriously. At Wake Forest, Wake could be okay. Central Michigan, MAC team. At Clemson, they'll kill them. Florida State could be a tough game. Pittsburgh, at North Carolina, easy one. They got at Notre Dame, which is always a tough game for Miami. That's November 7th. Then Duke, VTech, and Boston College. So, except for Notre Dame, Pitt, Florida State could give them problems, and that's it. So it's really beat Notre Dame, beat Pitt, and they'll for sure be in the playoff now that it's, you can lose a game or two. So revenge game with Notre Dame. They beat Notre Dame 27-24. And Florida State 28-22 last year. Their loss to Louisville was after the Florida State game, that letdown that we worry about. 24-21, they lost to Louisville. And then lost to SMU 26-20. And then they got lucky. They had Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, and Pittsburgh. They beat 38-7. It's amazing. SMU had Jennings as a running quarterback, so Reuben Bain couldn't go after him like you would a standing quarterback. And I'm not sure how in God's name they lost to Louisville. That was one of those Thursday night bullshit games in the rain or whatever. So they scored 30 a game, gave up 14, and that's exactly the A team. Good offense, good defense. That's who we want. Louisville. Lincoln Kleinholz is the new projected quarterback. He's a junior. Oh, he's the backup at Ohio State for 3 years. He's 17-31, 225 yards, and 1 touchdown. So you got a total unknown. The fact he was 3 years at Ohio State tells you he's not very good, because if he was any good, he would have transferred last year, right? So then he gets beat out again, and now they kept getting other guys in because he sucks. So I don't know that Louisville is going to be all that with this guy. They open against Ole Miss in Nashville. I don't know why Nashville. Louisville is Kentucky, right? So I don't know. Then Villanova, Division II, SMU, good game. Wake, good game. NC State, a good game. Florida State, we don't know. Good coach, but not much else. At Syracuse, they will win by 50. Stanford, they'll win by 60. At Georgia Tech, we don't know. At North Carolina, Pitt, and the favorite at the final at Kentucky. It's the Louisville against Kentucky. That's every year. Last year, Louisville won 41-0. So we don't know Louisville. The running back and receiver are back. So let's see. But the running back's not a big deal. He only got 884 yards. It's not like he got 1,500. And this thing about 1,000 yards, in the NFL, it was meaningful when they played 12 games. Then they went to 14 games, and it's like, okay, you got 1,000 yards. At 17 games, 1,000 yards is is nothing. Now it should be, if you want a good runner, it's somebody with 2,000 yards. So anyway, that's Louisville. So we'll watch the Ole Miss game. Could be, I don't know. We don't know enough about the quarterback. When you back up at Ohio State for 3 years, you're not very good. SMU, Kevin Jennings, very good. He's a senior. They start at Florida State. Should be a good game. UC Davis at Louisville. Missouri State, who is Division I. Boston College, Virginia, Cal, Syracuse, VTech, Wake Forest, at Notre Dame for some reason, and then at Stanford. So the Notre Dame game, the Louisville game, maybe, and that's it. Very weak schedule. So if you notice, when we're looking at the Big 12, it's Texas Tech, Houston, Utah, BYU. Here in the ACC, you got Miami, and that's it. I don't think Louisville's all that. SMU's a decent team, but I don't think. I think it's just Miami. Maybe Pitt could be okay, and that's it. It's a very it's a weak conference besides Miami. So if you don't play Miami, you have a chance to do well, especially SMU. Clemson, Christopher Vazina, just a backup, nothing there. Obviously not good, or he would have transferred. So that's the new measure if the guy transfers or not. They start at LSU. They lost to LSU 17-10 last year. That was Brian Kelly. Now it's at LSU. That game was at Clemson. This is at LSU. And now it's Lane Kiffin, who the guy's coached at 15 teams. Here you got Bo Schembechler. He's one team for 25 years, and Lane Kiffin's 25 teams in 25 years. So again, Dabo Sweeney, not all that. Even with Trevor Lawrence, they weren't that good. So they open at LSU, then they got Georgia Southern, North Carolina. At Cal is the problem, just because you're going cross country. Then they get Miami, that's a loss. Charlton Southern, Virginia Tech, we'll see. Florida State, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, at Duke, South Carolina. That's their rivalry. I don't think they'll beat South Carolina with the new offensive coordinator. At Duke, Georgia Tech. These are very decent. These are very good teams, but not at Miami's level. And they do have Miami, and they have at LSU. So doesn't look good for Clemson. Now, keep in mind, I don't have any. I'm not rooting for or against the team. I'm just pointing out the facts. So we will see. Virginia Tech. Now they brought in James Franklin from Penn State. Well, how's that going to work? Well, we don't know. He did bring his backup quarterback with him. So this guy, Ethan Grunkenmeyer, is a sophomore, didn't even play at Penn State. So we have no idea, but he's a sophomore. So he might be okay. The defense at Penn State, I thought, they always get good linebackers. Are they going to get the same talent at Virginia Tech? Are you going to really follow James Franklin to Virginia Tech, or are you still going to go to Penn State because it's Penn State? It's like going to Michigan, going to Ohio State. You don't really care who the coach is there. So we will see. Anyway, they open at VMI, Virginia Military. Really? Then they got Old Dominion, who's, I think, Conference USA. Then they go at Maryland, who sucks. At Boston College, who sucks. Pitt, pretty good. At Cal, it's going to be, across the country. Georgia Tech, very good team. At Clemson, don't know. At SMU, good team. Stanford, at Miami, and then Virginia. So they're in big trouble, Virginia Tech. I don't think they'll go 500. I mean, Pitt, at Cal, Georgia Tech, at Clemson, at SMU, at Miami. Yeah, they're not winning too many games with James Franklin or Franklin James, whatever you want to call him. My Georgia Tech team, we love Georgia Tech. Brent Key is still the coach. He's only been there 4 years. It seems like he's been there longer. He's 27-20. Very good coach. We lost our Haynes King. I know it's sad. He ran out of eligibility. I don't hear him getting drafted. That's a guy I would have drafted, Haynes King, above the guy from Penn State. Jesus Christ. He's a winner at least. Just like Daggio, I still can't believe Daggio is not going to be playing in the NFL. That makes zero sense. Yeah. So we got Alberto Mendoza, who is Mendoza's brother, transferred from Indiana to Georgia Tech. So you wonder how good he is, because Indiana had him and went to Josh Hoover from TCU instead of plugging in the kid. So I don't know. They open against Colorado. That should be a good game for him. It's going to take Mendoza a while to be a starter and to learn Georgia Tech's offense and everything. So keep in mind. Then they got Tennessee. They'll struggle there. Mercer, at Stanford. Stanford stinks, but it's cross country. Duke, very good team. At Virginia Tech. At Virginia Tech will be a little problem. Boston College, at Pitt, that's a problem. Louisville, that's a problem. At Clemson, it's a problem because it's at Clemson. Then Wake Forest, and at Georgia, that's a big problem. So I don't know. It's all up to how this Mendoza Jr. does at Georgia Tech, not at Indiana. I think it was a big mistake for him to leave Indiana. He probably would have watched Josh Hoover, and then he might have been the quarterback junior and senior year, unless the coach said, no, you're not any good, go transfer. But it is Mendoza's brother, so you'd have thought he'd have got a shot. So I think he made a mistake coming to Georgia Tech, but we will see. Although we do love the coach, we will see. Pittsburgh, and it ain't the Steelers. Mason Heinzkel, who played last year, was pretty good. And they open a home against Miami, Ohio, not Miami, Florida. UCF, Syracuse, Bucknell. What is that doing in there? At Virginia Tech, North Carolina, at BC, at Miami. That's a loss. Georgia Tech, Florida State, Louisville, and Cal. And it's at Cal. So we'll see. They're going to struggle at Louisville. They might struggle at Florida State. At Miami is definitely going to be a struggle. And that's it. They should win the rest. So it's the last few. It's Miami, Florida State, Louisville, and then at Cal, which you think, oh, that's a win. You got to go to Cal. I mean, this is what's so stupid about the ACC. Why the fuck do you have the West Coast teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference? They should go back to the Pac-8 to make it the Pac-10 with Cal and Stanford going back there. Now that you have half the Mountain West in the Pac-10, so you got 8 teams. Just stay there. Why do you want to? So let's look at Cal's schedule. They got the same quarterback back. They got a new coach, Tosh Lopel. Let's see. Lupe, a first-time head coach, turns offensive responsibilities to that. A former Hawaii and Washington State head coach. I don't know how good he is. So they want to run and shoot. But it doesn't really say much about the coach. So where are they getting the coach from? All I know is he's a first-time head coach, and that's all it says about him. So you got to question Cal. So it's a who knows coach. The quarterback's decent. This Segapoli. Let's see. They open at home against UCLA, which could be a nightmare for him. Because they got the James Madison coach now at UCLA. So let's see if he does what Indiana's done. At Syracuse. So now we're banging around going to the East Coast. Then Wagner. I don't know where they are. Then they're home to Clemson, which helps. At UNLV, not a big road. Home to VTech and Wake Forest. They go at SMU, who's not a big – that's not a big travel. And then at NC State and at Virginia is going to be a problem. I mean, they should stay on the East Coast. If you're going to play NC State and Virginia, if you fly home, you're fucked because that's a lot of travel. And then at home against Stanford, which should win. although they lost 31-10 last year to Stanford, and then at home to Pittsburgh. So the home games, they have a big advantage in conference. Pittsburgh, Stanford, Wake, Virginia Tech, Clemson, because they got to fly out there. The UCLA game will be interesting. Probably a lot of points. They gave up 27 last year, and we don't even know who the coach is this year. And UCLA is going to the James Madison School of Coaching, where the Indiana coach came from. And they were pretty good last. James Madison, they're like nobody knows who they are because they're not Ohio State or Alabama. And they're very good in conference. They're like an A team in their conference. So we'll see. I'll keep our eyes open for UCLA. But here, we don't know. There's absolutely nobody knows who's this coach. And that's where you got to be careful. And that's why we look at coaches. We don't know what kind of team they are. Now, we've seen Prime Time at Colorado, and he was good the first year because Prime Jr. played and the other Hunter played. And then since then, when Prime Jr. left, they suck. He can't coach. He's a terrible coach. And, he'll go to Dallas and coach Prime Jr. Yeah, I see how that worked. But no, I mean, he's not a good coach. So you don't know what this guy is. So how do you bet on the coach? Decent quarterback. They'll probably be able to score a lot. Their defense will probably suck. So it's probably an over team because they have a quarterback. If you have a quarterback, you're pretty much an over team. I like to bet the overs based on the quarterbacks. But if I have two bad quarterbacks, I tend to bet the under because I go, where are you going to get points from? I'm going to score with no quarterback. So we will see. Virginia, now they lost their quarterback, who was excellent last year. I think he was a guy from North Texas, I think. Had like 35 touchdowns at North Texas, went to Virginia, and they lit it up pretty good. They averaged 30 a game, but now he's gone. Bo Prabula is there from Missouri. He was their quarterback, which you wonder why he transferred from Missouri to Virginia. Tony Elliott has been there 4 years to coach. All right. So we start North Carolina State in Rio. Oh, my. What is this international stuff for college? So Virginia plays North Carolina State in Brazil. God. Sorry. Then Norfolk State. Then they get West Virginia in Charlotte, North Carolina. At least I know where Charlotte is. Ric Flair will probably be there. Then they get Delaware, who is actually a Division I in the Conference USA. They moved up. Then at Florida State. Now they're in conference. Syracuse at SMU. That's a toughie. Duke, that's a toughie. At Wake, could be a toughie. At home against Cal, so they do have the advantage being at home. North Carolina, and then at Virginia Tech. I'm not sure if that's a rivalry game or not, but it might be. We'll see James Franklin there. So Virginia, we'll see how good they are. They're playing in Rio de Janeiro. What is that? Yeah, I'm sure people in Brazil, the biggest soccer market in the world, wants to watch college football. Oh, my God. All right, NC State, C.J. Bailey, their quarterback. Dave Duran, a very good coach, been there 13 years. So NC State, pretty good team. Diddy Cat, how are you? I'm just tuning in. Are you no, I'm not. I actually went to Walsh College. It's a business college. But no, I'm not a Virginia alumni. Walsh is a business school. So I went to a local because I had to work. So I worked, and then I played golf at the OU golf course at Oakland University, and then worked at the grocery store. And then I went back for a master's at this business college, Walsh College. Very, very strong business college, as you can tell by my economics thing. But I've always been able to problem solve football. So we got C.J. Bailey, pretty good quarterback, one of these dual options. And they open against Virginia in Rio de Janeiro. Then they get Richmond, and then at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, we're not sure how they're going to be without Daggio. App State, Sunbelt team, and then Louisville, tough game. Wake, probably a tough one. At Stanford, it would be an easy game, but it's at Stanford. Stanford stinks. Home to Cal, that helps. Duke, a good team. Syracuse, we're not sure. Florida State, we have no idea. And at North Carolina, the Bill Belichick game, we will see. Florida State, they got Ashton Daniels from Georgia Tech. He's a senior. Mike Norvell used to be good. Oh, no, Ashton Daniels is from Auburn. My mistake. So he's from Auburn. Now he's at Florida State, and I don't know how good he is. Again, Mike Norvell, we thought was a good coach, but he's really 38 and 34 in 6 years there. So he's really okay. They open with New Mexico State at home, then SMU, then Bama. That's a loss, I think. Central Arkansas, that's Division II, and then in season or in the conference, it's Virginia. At Louisville, tough. At Miami, that's a loss. Clemson, we'll see. At BC, at Pitt, NC State, and then Florida to close it out. They lost 40-21 to Florida. We'll see if they got any type of team, then they will have a revenge against Florida, but pretty tough there. What are they doing scheduling Bama? Are they kidding me? They got SMU, they got Louisville, Miami, Clemson, Pitt, and you add Alabama to that? Yeah, they got no chance. All right, Duke, Walker Egent from when they brought him in, he getting through for 17 touchdowns and 9 picks for the Spartans. So I think that's San Jose State. And let's see, Manny Diaz, 18-9 in 2 years. They do score a lot. They scored 34 a game, gave up 29 for the season last year. They opened with Tulane, who's always a very good team. Even though Mensah left Tulane, he left Tulane for Duke, and now he left Duke for Miami. And but Tulane's always a good team. Then at Illinois, be a tough game. Stanford, they'll blow them out. William and Mary, what the fuck is that? At Georgia Tech, North Carolina's not going to be good. At Virginia, maybe ACC. Then they're at NC State, will be a tough game. At Miami, good luck. Clemson, they can win, and at Wake Forest. So let's see. They did not play Miami last year. They actually won the ACC championship, beating Virginia 27-20 because Miami got upset and wasn't in it, which is crazy. So they beat Clemson last year. They killed Cal at Cal. So keep your eye open for Duke. Even with this new quarterback, they got a good coach. The coach is the key. The quarterbacks are okay. This guy's a senior, so he should be okay. But I've been betting Duke for years, and they get you the money. Wake Forest, we've got Jake Dickert. Been there. It was 9-4 last year, 32-24 in 5 years at wherever the hell he came from. 28 points a game, gave up 22. So you have a fairly decent defense and a fairly decent offense. Gio Lopez, I've heard about. He is from so he was one season at North Carolina and he was one season somewhere else. Oh, he was at South Alabama. Okay, yeah. He was good at South Alabama. They scored a lot, I remember. North Carolina just They're Belichick's terrible. All right, so a decent quarterback. They open at home to Akron, and if it was bowling, I'd give Akron a chance. Then they go at Purdue. Then they got Miami. Good luck there. At Louisville. Good luck. Stanford, they'll kill. At NC State, tough. At Cal, tough. Virginia Tech, Merrimack. What the fuck? Merrimack. I think it's a New York college, Division II. Then at SMU, at Georgia Tech, and then home to Duke. So pretty tough schedule. We will see what they did. Last year they did beat SMU 13-12. Got killed by Florida State. Beat Virginia. Beat North Carolina. Lost to Duke. So decent team, not great. North Carolina with the Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, wife, whatever the hell she is. I don't know why people care about it. Like, who cares? And who cares of the age difference? Why is that even an issue? 4-8 in 1 year. And this goes to show you, as I always said, he's not a great coach. He had Tom Brady. And since he hasn't had Tom Brady, he sucks. So don't tell me how great a coach he is and all that. If I had Tom Brady, I'd win a bunch too. And then he was with Bill Parcells and he had Lawrence Taylor. So, he's had the opportunity of having some great players he's coached, but I don't think he's a good coach. Billy Edwards from Maryland is their quarterback, a senior. He sucks. We open up versus TCU in Dublin, Ireland. What the fuck is that? I can understand when Notre Dame goes to Ireland. The Fighting Irish. North Carolina and TCU, the Christians are going to Ireland. Then it's East Tennessee State at Clemson. Good luck. Notre Dame. What are they messing with Notre Dame for? At Pitt, at Duke, a couple more losses. Syracuse, maybe they can win. Good luck with Miami. At UConn, that will be a tough one. Although UConn, I think the coach left, Mora left. Louisville, and then at Virginia, NC State. They might only win 2 or 3 games. This team sucks. They opened up the TCU last year, lost 48-14, and now they go play them in Ireland. Now TCU is not very good, and as is North Carolina. I don't know. I gotta see if I'm even interested in this game, and I don't even know if I want over under. I don't know enough about. Billy Edwards stinks. Well, he did add Bobby Petrino, who's the Louisville coach, the Arkansas coach. This guy's a good offensive coordinator. So you might score some points, and then he's the defensive coordinator. Oh, is his son, Steve Belichick. Yeah. No nepotism there. Yep, we're going with my son. He's going to be my defensive coordinator. Because he knows so much about defense. What kind of a joke is that? So they might be more of an over team with Bobby Petrino. So here's where you want to keep an eye on the coordinators. They scored 19 a game, gave up 24. So they'll probably go to like 25, but such a hard schedule. And here's where I bitch about Notre Dame. They play North Carolina, and they light them up. And that Love, ran for 200 yards. But I always go back to the Miami game when Love's 15 carries, 30 yards against a pro defense. That's what you get. So I thought Arizona drafting him was a huge mistake. Again, if Army and Navy start playing in the NFL, then I'm all for Love, but no, not there. Let's see, John C. You watch soccer. I've been watching a little of it. Like yesterday, I watched a little, and then I was working out and was on TV, and then I went in the pool. And then I do go, what I watch is the 15-minute highlights on YouTube. So you go to YouTube and you search soccer, and it brought up the game, and I can watch it in 15 minutes. And I heard somebody on the radio talk about how England played a prevent defense and didn't try to score and just wanted to play defense with the 1-0 lead. And that's not the game I saw. I saw Argentina putting a lot of pressure on them, especially in the last 10 minutes. And you leave Messi open. You got to double team. You can't let Messi beat you. Just like everything else, you cannot let the star beat you, right? So Messi, got the assist at the end to win the game. And I blame the goalie for England. You've got to read the play. When Messi's passing the ball, you've got to go, where's he? Oh, he's going to there. So I got to move over to the guy, and that's where the ball's going. You can't watch the ball and then move with the ball. You got to be there first. So these goalies really have a hard time reading the play and adjusting to it. England defense, wow, so horrible. Well, it wasn't really. You're facing Messi, who's supposed to be the good. I can't see it. He's a little quick guy, is all I saw. And there was a lot of tackles I saw in the beginning when I was on the bike at the club. They were tackling pretty. It was looking like a football game. It was exciting. Yeah, that defense is terrible. And that's really the key. So now you get Spain against Argentina. Who knows? All I know is Spain beat Portugal, and Portugal had that other really good guy who I can't pronounce. I don't remember the guy's name. But as you saw my other video, why soccer will never be a big sport here. It will never be able to replace football. Because we're looking at these football games and the team gets down 21-0 and then wins 28-21. You can't do that in soccer. You got lucky where it was 1-0 and then they did come from behind and win 2-1. But that's very unusual. You do get a little pressure down at the end when England's holding a 1-0 lead. And David Beckham needed to go out there and his wife. But, you got to keep putting the offense on. If England has the ball and they're trying to score on Argentina, Argentina can't score. In football, you can. You can get a pick six or a fumble recovery and score. So I don't see the same betting. I don't see the same drama that you have in NFL or even basketball, where the Knicks come down 30, they're down 29 points and win. You're not doing that. In soccer, you're down 2-0, the game's over. So I don't buy that. Not a lot of high score. Now maybe this is the tournament and it played differently than the league games. I don't know. Much like the Super Bowl, you're going to get usually a more defensive game. They don't want to take risk. We'll see, but you're not selling that shit here. You're not selling soccer. I'm never watching it because you can't bet it. Once you take the betting out of the sport, you're not betting it. You're not, I'll watch golf. It's the only sport that really there's no betting on if there's a good player in it. But, baseball we bet here, and football we bet here, and basketball, the playoffs. And that was very tough betting basketball. Baseball, I figured out pretty well. And Sunday, I was really hot. What was I Sunday? I was, where's my sheet? I think it's over there. Yeah. Sunday, I was like 9-1, plus 17 units. I don't even know what to do in college, in soccer. I don't know any of the players, coaches, anything. And how do you bet it? I assume it's a money line like baseball. But then baseball, at least we can bet the pitcher. Soccer, who do you bet on? Even Messi. Am I going to bet on Messi? No, probably not. So I can bet on Paul Skeens. I cannot bet on soccer. I can't use that. So anyway, but it's always defense. Okay, North Carolina. So again, they're in Ireland, at Clemson, Notre Dame, at Pitt, Duke. So they're not going to win too much. All right, Syracuse. Steve Angeli, a backup for Notre Dame, is now the Syracuse starter. Fran Brown is 2 years. He's 13-12 as the coach. Again, another bad coach. They open at home to New Hampshire, Division II. Then they're lucky they're home to Cal and not at Cal. Then they're at Pitt, at UConn, at Virginia, Louisville at home, at North Carolina. Then they get SMU, Clemson, NC State, BC, and then they end at home against Notre Dame. I don't know. Notre Dame, what they have the ACC schedule, but I noticed they're playing Michigan State. I assume USC. So Syracuse, Notre Dame, Clemson, SMU, Louisville, Pittsburgh. So they got a decent skill, but I don't know how good they are. They scored only 20 a game, gave up 35. If they don't improve their defense, they're not going anywhere. And our last, but not now, we have two more. We got Boston College, Mason McKenzie, a junior. Who is this guy? Oh, he's a Saginaw Valley transfer from Saginaw Valley's Division III. This is your quarterback? Oh, my God, he's a junior. They start at Cincinnati. Then they're at home to Rutgers and Maine. What is that? And then Virginia Tech. So far, they haven't played anybody. At SMU and Pitt will be good. At Georgia Tech and at Duke will be good games. Florida State, we will see. And then they're at Notre Dame and then at Miami. So BC's in big fucking trouble. And our last game, Stanford, they absolutely suck. Davis Warren is a quarterback from Michigan who absolutely sucked. I can't believe they're going with this guy. What are you thinking? He's terrible. Before underwear came to Michigan, he was terrible. So Stanford opens at home against Hawaii, and then Miami. Miami of Florida plays Stanford. At Duke, Georgia Tech, at Wake. Then they get at Notre Dame, Elon, NC State, at Louisville, at Virginia Tech, at Cal, and then at home at SMU. And what you're looking at is, okay, they're home to Miami. Then they got to go at Duke, at Wake, at Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, at home to NC State, then at Louisville, at Virginia Tech, and at Cal. I mean, most of their games are not even on the West Coast or against Miami. He's not a West Coast team. At Duke, at Wake, at Notre Dame, home to NC State. Nothing on the schedule. The only thing is the last game against SMU makes any sense. Miami makes no sense. So Stanford, our Z team, they're our bitch. We'll be betting heavily against them this year. And that is your ACC and Big 12 preview today. We'll get into it. Now, it helps me when I go over this with you. It helps me. Stanford sucks. We'll be betting against them. Miami looks good, obviously. So it helps us build up what are these teams? We're problem solving the teams, right? So we have to understand who the team is. That's what we're looking at. That's the first thing we look at. And this helps me because I can see, the coaches there, quarterbacks there. Now I put that on my spreadsheet. And so we know if it's a new coach, we don't know what we're going to get. Even Belichick, I mean, he's 4-8 last year. I don't know what he's doing at North Carolina. I can't understand why he's coaching there. No reason. And it's so his son can be the defensive coordinator. And then he'll probably retire, and then the son will be the coach. So it's basically nepotism. And the girlfriend will be the coach. I love that one. She's a cheerleader, so she should be the coach, of course. So we're done with 4 conferences. So where it gets really interesting is Sun Belt, MAC, Conference USA, and Mountain West. That's where those are our bitches. That's where we really look to see who we're betting on. Because then you'll get Boise and you'll get Utah State, San Diego State, Texas State, North Texas. Those are the 2 lanes. That's where you make a lot of money. You don't really make that much on Alabama,